Hey everybody, welcome back to an Author Talk Short. I have another author that's going to be joining my crazy self on the 12 Days of Page Turners December 7th. Miss J. Lynn is going to be joining us December 7th at 7 p.m. Central, which that 7 and 7 is amazing. I love it. But J. Lynn, tell us a little bit about what genre you write in and how long you've been writing.
So I started out writing historical fiction that's set in ancient Egypt way back in the time of King Tut. Just so fascinated by it. So that was when my kids were younger. I think like 2016 at least. Like the years just go by so fast. And then I got into writing fantasy. So I enjoy writing female-driven fantasy stories. I just think they're fantastic. And that has been my trilogy. I've also written a little science fiction and a short story that was a bit of a witchy story. And my next book is actually going to be a children's book. I am super thrilled. It's about a young ballerina who goes to her first ballet class. She's a cute little elephant, and she's so excited to learn to dance to be like a beautiful ballerina. So lots of stuff, and I'm just so excited about this next chapter that's coming out in my writing journey.
Oh, I'm so excited for you. Your children's story, it just sounds so cute. I had to lock my child so she didn't have to hear her screaming. So that's why I wasn't on. We try to keep it professional, but I have kids at home. You know, that's how things roll sometimes. So you will hear her in the background. So I will mute myself while you're talking. But no, your children's book, I remember when you first had kind of mentioned about, you know, you're dabbling in writing a children's book and this is what it's going to be. And I'm just like, oh, this is going to be so cute. Like, I'm so excited for it. I had no idea that you started writing. You started off your writing career writing historical fiction. So tell me a little bit about that. What made you transition? Yeah. Words are hard. Words are hard when you're not.
Words can be hard.
They are extremely hard. But what was that transition like for you going from historical fiction to your series that you have?
You know, I absolutely am a huge reader. So I found it, you know, I've always kind of read fantasy and historical fiction. Historical fiction really set during ancient times. And at the time I wrote it, I just really wanted to know more about the women of that time because so many of those voices are just lost. You know, they didn't record it. It wasn't deemed as important as a man's voice. And I just wanted to know more about the life of these women in antiquity who still had to be like queens and help rule a nation. And yet there are so many limitations to what their role could be. And so I also found that with fantasy, there was a limited amount of roles for women. They were usually very smart or very sexy or very aggressive. And I was like, I want something more for that. So that's when I really got into this fantasy setting, just wanting to have girls who are somewhat silly, who made jokes, who made mistakes, who weren't perfect. Because like the book, A Wrinkle in Time, that was a book I could see myself in because the main character, she would get angry about things, about her mistakes. And that was okay. Yeah. And I never read a book where it was okay for a girl to get mad, you know? And that's what I wanted to write about. So just immersing myself in reading fantasy, I'm like, I want something more for like our girls to read when they're growing up because I didn't see those stories when I was growing up as much. So that's how I really kind of dove into this story. And yeah, just about girl power, really girl power.
See, I love that. And so I've always been fascinated with like Cleopatra and stuff, right? And like, I don't know. I swear I saw like a commercial or something where they're like, maybe they finally like found her tomb or something like that, you know, something like that. And the fascination that you had is the same that I had for historical fiction, which is like you have all these badass women, right, who were like rulers and all of this stuff, but still had so much limitations, right? And I mean, those are the ones that are still, to me, you know, have so much mystery and stuff around. So they're just so like alluring, you know, I guess in a sense, alluring for you to talk about. But diving into your fantasy and having it be so empowering for women and stuff, I find to be, that is just awesome. I love it. I love it. But okay. So you have to world build Okay, and I'm assuming you are an Inklings author, so I'm going to go out on the limb and say, do you have dragons in your books?
I do have a dragon. Yes.
All right. I like it. Dragons they're welcome here. They're welcome.
We meet the dragon in book 2 and carries on into book 3, and she befriends one of our main characters. So she really forms this connection that's kind of a healing connection for both of them because they've both been through loss. So I wanted to just kind of have that fun element, but also kind of that serious element with, I mean, you're making friends with the dragon, you know, that's heavy stuff too, but super cool stuff. So yes, there are some dragons.
Oh, see, I love that. So how did the idea or the spark for your Avalon series, how did that come about?
You know, it started actually with a wishing well. It started with the wishing well, which you can kind of see in my cover over here. There's the wishing well up there. It started with a land where your wishes would go, and about a person who was collecting these wishes and was going to use it for nefarious purposes. Now, it didn't quite have as much traction as I needed, so when I started to get into the Arthurian kind of interest and I started pulling some of those characters in, that's when it really kind of took off. So it isn't just about, you know, this land of wishes. It's about the land of Avalon, a land that disappeared after King Arthur died. There's so much mystery surrounding it, so much magic to some of the characters, so many questions about that time. There's so little written about that, the Celtic kind of tradition back then in the 5th century, 6th century. So it was fun to kind of explore that and bring more of that into the story. Again, love history, love ancient history. So of course I've got to bring that into my stories. And that's when I found it really kind of got some legs and started taking off. So yeah, I eventually set it from this wishing well to a wishing well that eventually gets us to the land of Avalon.
I love that. I love how it started with the wishing well. I did not know that. And I've known you, I feel like forever. I feel like I've known you forever. And I had no idea that was like the inspiration behind it and how it all kind of started. And so you're going to be on December 7th with me on the 12 Days of Page Turners. My kids will not be in the background for that because their dad will be home. Just fun facts, okay? Disclaimers. I love disclaimers, right?
Got it.
But at 7 p.m. Central. So without telling us what holiday promotion you're going to be offering, because we're going to dive into that on the 7th, can you give us a little hint or what we can kind of expect to hear from you on the 7th?
Well, I do love books so much, and I love sharing books and sharing stories. So I hope to take some people on an adventure, a fun adventure, with some different knights and whatnot, and maybe some mysterious women with twigs in their hair. We'll see. You'll find out more.
I like
on
it.
The 7th.
Twigs in their hair. I like it. I don't think I couldn't pull off that look, but you know, some can't. So I am envious because that sounds fun and exciting. So what is next for you after your children's book? Are you going to write another children's story, or what is that journey like for you?
That's still a good question. I have right now in kind of the pot stewing, I have an ancient Egyptian fantasy novel about the gods and about specifically Sekhmet coming to get some of her power back, kind of a female rage goddess story.
Okay. I'm there for it. I'm there for it.
I want to develop that, but I also have kind of another fantasy, but kind of like a Rapunzel story, but also kind of with dragons, a lot more dragons. So that's starting to eke out of my brain.
Are you watching House of Dragons? Is that why we're going to put a lot more dragons in there? No? Okay.
That's a little too gruesome for me. So I like to live my happy go la la land. So
puppies and rainbows. Gruesome. Puppies and rainbows. I mean, I like gruesome things, so I don't know how I'm over here just puppies and rainbows, but I am. I don't know. I don't know. You don't want to know what's going on in my mind, evidently. Okay, because
it's okay, girl.
Hey, I'm telling you, it's all good. I love that though. So you have like more stories to come. It's not just like you're gonna write a children's book and take some time off. You have more fantasy stories in you, and I love that because I love your books. I actually bid on them when Authorology was still around, and I won that bid. So I actually have your entire series My daughter's screaming of such excitement. That's what's happening.
Yes.
But
dragons.
I know. I have them. I have read them. And so I stand by how great they are. I love them. And I'm not a huge into fantasy or anything, but I have mad respect because I know fantasy world building takes so much time, and it was so beautifully done, and it carried into all 3 books wonderfully. So I am a huge fan. I will advocate for these books 100%, and you're not going to want to miss December 7th. So we can hear more from Lynn, because we can't just call her Lynn. Like, it's the whole thing. Like, Lynn. We're going to hear more. Yes. We're going to hear more from Lynn on December 7th at 7 p.m. Central, all about her holiday promotion, dive more into her books, and get to know her as the author. But what else is behind being an author? So we're going to get to know Lynn a little bit deeper on the 7th. But thank you so much, Lynn, for taking time out of your evening to come talk with me.
It's so thanks for having me. I just love seeing your smiley face. So thank you so much.
Oh, well, girl, I love it. I'm glad that I'm feeling good today, and today, has been fun. So thank you guys so much. You'll catch me doing some more Author Talk shorts, but don't forget, December 1st starts 2 weeks from this Thursday, and we're going to kick it into full swing. So until then, you guys, we'll catch you all on another Author Talk. Bye, everybody.